Joining us now, he is the chief counsel for the American Center for Law and Justice. He's also one of the president's attorneys, exclusive tonight, Jay Sekulow. Let me start with a simple question, your take on all of this.
Well, it's not surprising that there was an indictment that came down in Paul Manafort's situation, because that had been anticipated for a number of weeks. I mean, it had been speculated in the press. You had the no-knock search of his house, which raises a whole host of constitutional issues. And then when you look at the context of the indictment and you read through it, you realize that the basis upon which the indictment is rendered has nothing to do with the campaign or campaign activities of the president, but rather involves business transactions and activities that Paul Manafort was allegedly engaged in his business going back to 2006. So you have to look at these issues and on the basis of the documents that have been produced. And the document that's been produced right now is the indictment. And as I said, that indictment focuses in on the business activities and corporate activities of Paul Manafort's and not focus in on at all with regard to the campaign or campaign activities of the president. So I think that's a big takeaway from this when you look at the nature and the scope of the fact that it's been known for a number of weeks that Paul Manafort was a principal target of this. So again, not surprising. Surprising that there was a leak of a sealed indictment, however, or at least that's what CNN was reporting. Well, I don't know. I mean, this idea that an indictment would be that sealed, number one, would be leaked is a crime in and of itself. And, I don't know who was responsible for leaking it. I just know that it was reported. And as you reported, that I guess Paul Manafort's lawyers did not know until late yesterday, evidently, that they were the subject of that indictment. So, again, that raises another issue. And why in the world would there be a leak of an indictment, especially an indictment that's sealed? I mean, why do you seal an indictment? They were concerned about flight risk. There's a list in the Department of Justice manual. Yeah.
All right. So the media is going obsessed. I knew everybody in the Trump campaign. You know how active I was in the campaign, invested I was, and the media was ready to say Hannity's wrong and his career is over. It didn't happen. My obituary was written. Papadopoulos. I never heard of him. I'm told he's a volunteer. He's 29 years old. Yeah. Maybe he worked for Mueller from July on. I never heard of the guy until today. Thoughts?
Yeah. So here's what I know. I don't know him either. I do know this, that based on the reports that I've seen, that he was part of a committee, a foreign affairs committee, that are typical with this. Was during the campaign season. These campaigns have a lot of committees, and there's a lot of people on these committees. They generally do advisory work, but they're not paid staffers. It's not a organized structure as you would think of for instance, within the State Department. This was a volunteer, and what he did or did not do is also interesting in the document, because what did he get charged for? Did he get charged for contacting some professor that was supposedly Russian? That's at least the allegation in the documents, his plea agreement that he signed. No, what he got charged with was lying to a federal agent when asked a question about the timing of those meetings and whether he was a member of this committee.
That suggested that he said no, and nobody knew who the guy was.
Yeah, but again, this is the FBI didn't, or the special counsel didn't indict here for his conversation that he had with purportedly someone that had some Russia affiliation, this professor. But they indicted him for what, or plead him for what? That was lying under oath to an agent. Right.
Jay,
which, is 18 U.S.C. 1001. All right, thanks, Sean.